Kyle's boots crunched over the square's frost. Broad-shouldered, pale-eyed, a scar low on his ribs pulling when he breathed. He carried himself like a man made for iron, not for harvests. Malric carried firewood, like a man carrying his own house. Dark-skinned, heavier through the arms and chest, his stride had a weight that matched the great sword across his back. Rowan had a grin too sharp for morning, tossing a knife end over end. Sun-haired, blue-eyed, leaner than his brothers, but quick as wire. He fought the cold with motion, not bulk. Children trailed them, half-wild, hungry-eyed. Kyle bought bread with dried venison, broke it in his hands, and handed out steaming quarters. He crouched so the youngest could reach. A villager murmured, "Those orphans feed better than the Lord's hall." Malric bent so a girl could ride his shoulders. Rowan retied a boy's bootlace like he was prepping him for war. The brothers had no land, no inheritance. They were raised in the village on scraps and discipline, taught to hunt because that was the only craft no noble could take from them. Steel and bow fed them when grain did not. Children trailed them now for crust and warmth. The way the three had once trailed older hunters with hollow bellies. It wasn't ceremony. It was survival, dressed in kindness. The bells tolled dragged them from bread and ash to banners and brass. The hall waited, and in villages like theirs, the hall always won. The noble hall shone with banners. The peasants stood at the edges, shadows dressed as men. Celine appeared with her bracelets singing. Beauty carved into cruel lines, green eyes, dark hair, a mole below one eye. Celine moved through the hall like someone built to be looked at. Kyle didn't stare, not outright, but his eyes followed the shape of her in the torchlight, remembering the days before wealth and cruelty hardened her edges. A foolish warmth, buried deep, still lived there. The kind a boy carries too long, even after the lesson comes. He would never speak it. A peasant hunter does not court a lord's jewel. Celine saw the glance anyway. Her lips curved, not with welcome but with precision. Celine turned, slow, deliberate. And for one unguarded breath, Kyle's gaze caught hers. Not longing, but awareness. The way a man looks at fire knowing it could burn him clean. Celine saw it. Her eyes sharpened like a blade given purpose. Then her smile split, cold and triumphant. She let the room orbit her, then turned to Kyle. Still lurking, always watching, never chosen. Rowan stiffened. Malric's hand fell to the table. Kyle held the insult like a blade between his teeth, absorbing, not answering. Celine leaned closer, voice sweet enough to rot. I'd sooner share a bed with the farmer's hog than with you. The laughter rang sharp as steel dropped on stone. Kyle stared at the floor's knots, jaw set. When he didn't flinch, Celine turned, triumphant. The hall dismissed them with words as cold as coin. The brothers shouldered their steel anyway. The mist didn't care for noble games. It still needed hunters and protectors. And the three orphan brothers were the most capable. The forest didn't wait. Mist rose fast, blinding, swallowing boots. They passed the last lantern of the village, where the light thinned and frost clung to the earth like warning. The trees ahead stood crowded, their branches hooked like ribs over a mouth of fog. Kyle felt the air change, colder, watching. The mist thickened with each step, swallowing the sound of their boots until only breath remained. Villagers' voices died behind them. By the fifth step, even memory felt muffled. The mist didn't greet trespassers. It consumed them one breath at a time. When the tree line closed behind them, the world changed. They walked deeper. The trees leaned tight, ribs closing over a throat of fog. Even the wind seemed to hold itself still. No birds, no insects. Only the sound of their own breath and the cold thinking around it. Something moved in the mist. Not seen, felt. Like hunger, learning the shape of their bones. Then the first Wendigo lunged, jaw unhinging wider than skull should allow. Wendigos were the mist's oldest teeth, always female, always hungry. Their bodies carried a ruined echo of womanhood. Long, gaunt frames, hips sharp as bone handles, and breasts hanging in emptied folds, as if something else had fed on the life that once filled them. Malric split one down the spine with raw force, then kneed its body to free his stuck blade. Rowan struck quick, then headbutted a snarling face before cutting low through tendon. More came. Mist birthed them with hunger. Kale met one shoulder first, pain lancing his ribs as claws scraped shallow across his side. He smashed forward anyway, boot snapping a knee, fist hammering the skull flat. Mist birthed another, larger. It hit him like a wall, carried him sideways. He rolled, weapon high, but the ground betrayed him. Roots, mud, an embankment. The earth cracked open under his weight. He fell. Water and stone hit like fists. Then nothing.